You know, when you finally buy that gorgeous 4K display, there's this fantasy of how it's going to look. Just a pristine pane of glass perfectly mounted on the wall.
Right, like a window into another world, totally zero clutter.
Exactly. But then reality hits hard and suddenly you're dealing with the cable monster. Thick, black HDMI cords just like dangling everywhere. It's so ugly. Today, we're diving into a spec sheet from HDTVSupply for a device called the Smart-AVI HDX-ULT-S HDMI extender to find out how you can actually defeat that monster. Because, okay, let's unpack this. You have a real-world problem here.
Yeah, you want that killer 4K setup, but your video source is rooms away.
Right, your media server or your matrix switch is far off, and standard HDMI cables just, well, they die over those long distances.
And the stakes here are pretty high, especially if you're looking at professional setups. I mean, historically, if you wanted high bandwidth AV routing across an entire building, like, say, in a commercial sports bar or a really high-end home theater, it required incredibly expensive, bulky custom cabling.
Oh yeah, a massive engineering headache.
Precisely. It was a complete nightmare.
Well, reading through these specs, I was genuinely surprised by how effectively this device solves that distance problem. It pushes 4K video at 30 hertz or 1080p at 60 frames per second up to 450 feet using just one standard Cat5e or CT6 internet cable.
Wow, 450 feet on a single Ethernet cable.
Yeah, it's like using a basic cheap garden hose to flawlessly deliver a high-pressure fire hydrant stream of like 10.2 gigabits per second data.
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism, right? The HDBaseT technology. Because it isn't just a passive physical adapter. It essentially takes that massive uncompressed digital video signal and chops it into tiny data packets.
Just like standard internet traffic.
Exactly like internet traffic. Then it routes those packets down the tightly twisted copper pairs of a standard networking cable, which naturally prevents interference over those incredibly long runs.
Though, I mean, to be fair to the spec sheet, if you're actually trying to push that absolute maximum 450-foot limit, you probably want to rely on the thicker shielding of a Cat6 cable rather than an older Cat5, just to guarantee that stability.
Oh, absolutely. Physics still applies, right?
Oh.
But the brilliance is repurposing ubiquitous, inexpensive networking cable. The exact same stuff that's probably already inside the walls of your office right now.
Yeah, it's literally everywhere.
Right, and you're using it to solve a high-end commercial AV problem without losing any image quality.
Okay, but I have to push back a little on the logistics of this installation. Whenever I set up electronics, fixing one problem usually causes another, you know? Sending a signal 450 feet is great, but doesn't this just create a rat's nest of power cords at both ends?
You're thinking about the bulky power adapters for both the transmitter and the receiver.
Exactly. I do not want to try and hide two giant bricks.
That is a completely logical assumption, but here is the real aha feature of this particular extender. It uses PoE, Power over Ethernet.
Oh, wow. Wait, so no dual power bricks?
Nope. The device only needs to be plugged into an electrical outlet at one end.
Seriously, just one end?
Just one. You can power either the transmitter or the receiver, and that electrical power simply travels along the exact same network cable right alongside your 4K video data packets.
That is incredibly convenient. And here's where it gets really interesting for anyone integrating this into a smart home or a commercial system. It features bidirectional IR and RS-232 control.
Oh, that's huge for integrators.
Right. You can point your remote at your TV 450 feet away, and it controls the source box hidden in a totally different room. Plus, that RS-232 support means your professional home automation systems like Control4 or Crestron can communicate directly with your gear over that same standard serial port.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this invisible control and power routing is exactly how professional installations maintain that magic, clutter-free look.
Because you literally don't see the messy hardware.
Exactly. It allows integrators to centralize all the matrix switches and servers in a dedicated AV closet, while completely decentralizing the beautiful displays.
And it's wild that a piece of hardware doing all this heavy lifting is barely the size of a paperback book. I mean, it's just over 5 inches wide and weighs a little over half a pound.
It practically vanishes behind a screen.
Completely. Plus, seeing the price drop on HDTVSupply from $499 down to $399.20 proves that enterprise-level infrastructure is finally accessible for everyday setups. So what does this all mean for you? Well, it means distance is no longer a valid excuse for a messy AV setup.
It really isn't. And I'll leave you with this final thought. We spend all our time obsessing over the shiny, massive 4K screens right in front of us, right? We want that pristine pane of glass. But Shouldn't we marvel a bit more at the invisible, heavy-lifting infrastructure, like a single, cheap Cat5 cable that actually makes our modern visual world possible?